Well, my story, it starts with me being born in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, Mexico, and that's key because that's the reason why I'm an immigrant here in the United States, right? I was born in Mazatlan, Sinaloa. When I was 3 years old, I immigrated with my mom to the United States and my other sister, Nilvia. But then word got out that there was a lot of opportunities in Iowa. And so we went from California over to the state of Iowa, which has been the state that has given me so much and why I'm passionate about giving back. And in Iowa, I really got to see my mom take off as an entrepreneur. So growing up, my mom would sell blankets, would sell earrings, back in the day, there was the phone cards that you used to have to scratch off in the back to be able to make international calls. Yeah. My mom would sell them. People would call at 10 or 11 p.m. at night asking for the phone card. She would give them the codes, and then we would see them at church on Sunday. Mm-hmm. There'd be a line of people paying my mom for all of the phone cards that they would call in for during the week. And who was her cashier?
You.
Yes, so I would be the person that took the money, gave them their change, would tell them their total and all of that. And so I really got to see business from a very young age.
How old were you?
I don't know. I was probably like 7, 8 years old. Since then, I just got to see my mom doing business. She would sell Jafra, Avon, Home and Garden, all of the stuff from like the magazines. Yeah. Then she would do little parties in people's living rooms. And then I was, again, her cashier, taking orders, taking change, all of those things. And I got to see how my mom really built a business from that. She started with the little living room parties, and then she started going to the county fairs all across Iowa. So I got to go to all the county fairs, but I would be sitting in a stand
collecting money.
selling merchandise. She would sell hats, shoes, shirts, graphic tees, kinds of things, things that people would buy at a county fair. And she would give us a little bit of money at some point. We'd go and have a little bit of fun once we had worked all day. And I got to see how she, through those little hustles that she would do, was able to build up enough savings. And we moved to New Hampton, Iowa. And that is where my mom, when I was 13 years old, opened up a Mexican store. And I was her full-time employee.
Family slavery.
Yes. And honestly, at that time, it was part of being in the family. Is that the way we did it is that my mom bought a commercial building where downstairs there was a store, and then upstairs there were 3 apartments. And so we lived in the biggest apartment. So we would just literally go downstairs, open the door, and the business was open. And we would walk to school. It was a small town. There's like 4,000 people in New Hampton, which that's a whole nother story where I was the only Latina in the school until my sister came in, and I was the first Latina to graduate from school.
That's crazy.
The only speck of brown in a sea of white kind of thing. And that was where my mom really took off, and actually it all came together, and she had a business to run. She had accounting. That's where I really learned about how to run a business, because when she would sell in the living rooms, it was one thing, but now having an actual brick and mortar type of business and having the sales tax permit, having the food license, having the accounting having to be done. I literally would count can by can to do inventory. Wow. And I would help her do orders. I would also go and travel to Chicago and pick up merchandise to be able to sell. At some point, we even traveled to California to fill up on merchandise. And so I got to see how you negotiate when you're like trying to buy 20 pairs of jeans to sell them at your store, and how you can negotiate those prices. Yeah. I got to see business from a very young age, and also had to be in business because I had to represent my family in the business from a very young age.
So did you kind of like it, or were you just forced into it and you were like, all right, well, I'm here, might as well do it?
To be honest, I don't remember ever not liking it. I think the only part that was the part that I disliked the most was that it it was almost like we were chained to the business because we couldn't go to all the quinceañeras or all the weddings or all the family events because we had a business.
Yeah.
And it was just us. We had no employees. I was the employee.
Yeah.
And so maybe the family would take off to a party without me, but we usually would go to and do everything together. So if one person wasn't going to go, nobody was going to go.
Right.
And so that was the only thing that I think that it's a big sacrifice that entrepreneurs make, is that you are a full-time employee. It doesn't stop. I think full-time, which is what people consider, 40 hours a week, that's not a thing for entrepreneurs. I think most of us put in probably 80 hours a week or more.
Yeah.
Because it's a full-time thing. It's 24/7. Yeah. And so I feel like that was the only thing that I had. And I think because of that, I remember when I had first met Fernando, I'm fast forwarding, but when I first met Fernando, I had told him, I'm never going to have a business.
Psych.
Obviously, la lengua castiga.
Yeah.
I had literally told him that, but it was just because of that.
The stress.
That level of commitment is that I knew what it took to have a business. And I had my mom, when I was about 17 years old, divorced, and we lost everything. And so she had to close her store. At that time, she also had a Mexican restaurant. And we had lost everything because of that. And so I also hadn't been directly in the business for a while, right? And so I'm glad I made it back. I'm glad I made it back to the business world.
So you graduated from high school. The store's still in place? Like, what does it look like for you? Do you go to college or do you just stay working?
So the store was open up through basically when I graduated. That was when a month before I graduated, everything just fell apart. Which that too was intense.
Oh wow, that's super interesting.
Yeah, right. I had to, basically my whole family fell apart about a month before I graduated high school. So I had to finish finals and all of that with all of that mental baggage. And it was a pretty ugly separation in New Hampton, Iowa, where there's 4,000 people. My mom was very well known. My whole family was very well known. Yeah. So in Spanish, there's pueblo pequeño, infierno grande, where it's small town, big hell. Big hell. That's the direct translation, but it sounds better in Spanish. But basically, everybody found out, and it was very intense going through all of that. There were a lot of things where we lost all the money, we lost all access to bank accounts, to real estate, and so we had to basically start from scratch. So because of that, I had planned to go to a certain college. Also, because of my immigration status, really close to getting started in school, I had earned a full ride, but then last minute, because of my immigration status, they changed it to half a ride.
Oh.
And it was a private institution where it was about $36,000 at that time to go there. And we were in the worst financial crisis that I have lived so far in my life. And there was no way my mom was going to be able to help me pay for that much in schooling, and I definitely didn't have that level of money.
Yeah.
And so I had to pivot, and I went to community college. Thankfully, my mom still was like, you got to go to school no matter what. You got to start in the fall. I went to a community college, NICC, and then from there, I just flip-flopped. I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I always wanted to go into medicine. I wanted to be like a neurosurgeon. But at that time, I was undocumented, had an ITIN number, had no sort of work permit, and school was going to be very expensive, and I had no money. And so I had to be more realistic. And so that's when I started exploring other fields. And I went into business admin. And I also, I feel like the content, the books were really boring. I couldn't get myself to plow through the material. So after taking a few other electives, I ended up choosing sociology, believe it or not.
Sociology?
The study of society.
Oh, wow.
That was my education. And so I went through college. Now, what was key was not only my entrepreneur background from a very young age, is that around 2012, the DACA program came about, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. That was monumental in my life because with that program, I was able to get a work permit to be able to work legally in the United States. And with that work permit, I could enter the financial industry. I could enter what's called like the white collar jobs, right?
Yeah.
Where they do background checks, where, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had to apply at a bank or credit union, but it's a very thorough process. They check your credit, they check your background, they make sure, obviously you have to be qualified, literally they tested us on like how well we could record numbers. They checked our aptitude. I mean, it was a lot of different things, measurements. And so, for the first time, I was able to actually apply for those kinds of jobs. And so I went in. At that time, I started at Veridian Credit Union. That was the first financial institution that opened their doors to me. And I started at the bottom. Now, at that time, I don't know how it is now. Every 90 days, you could apply for another position. And so I would put it on my calendar, 90 days, to go and look to see what was available. And so in the first year, I went from being a teller to being an account representative, meaning I could open accounts and balance the vault, to then doing loans within my first year, because every 90 days I was applying.
So Monica meant business.
Yes. I was like, you guys let me in the door. I'm ready. I had been ready for such a long time. I just couldn't legally do it.
There's something really interesting that you said. I gotta be realistic when you said that the opportunities no longer will open up to you. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of people right now currently that have similar circumstances where they want to do certain things, but how do you manage? At what point are you giving up on your dreams, and at what point is it actually being realistic and just understanding your situation and doing the best out of what you have at hand?
Yeah, I think as long as you're taking at least one step forward in any direction, you're not giving up. You're not giving up, because I've seen so many different immigrants have to change their plans because of our limitations. And the thing is that they are legal, physical limitations, but we must never limit our brain. We must never limit our mindset, right? And so for me at that time, it was that type of limitation that being a brain surgeon might not have been very realistic for me, especially with all the factors working against me. But let me tell you, there was a young lady I interviewed in I believe it was 2018. About 2018, who undocumented, and at that time was going for a scholarship for Dream Iowa. We were awarding her a scholarship, and she was at that time very sad because she didn't see the medical industry as one that was realistic for her. She pivoted, did graphic design, a whole bunch of other stuff, rocked it, and now that years later, she actually was able to fix her status. And she is now on a pathway to becoming, I think, a doctor. Yeah. She's in the medical industry.
So she never gave up?
She never gave up.
Huh.
She changed, she pivoted, she adapted. And I think that's something that immigrants are really good at.
Find a way. That's so interesting. So in less than a year, from teller to giving out loans. Mm-hmm. What kind of loans? Home loans, personal loans? Oh.
So I did auto loans, personal loans, pay loans. And then we did credit cards and up to home equity loans. So it could be a home equity line of credit. It could be a home equity loan. Basically, most of the loans except for business loans and mortgages at that time. And I did that for about a year or so. And then there was another opening.
You mean 90 days later?
There was another opening, and that one I did give myself some time to really develop in just because there's so much, and there was so much learning, so much growth in such a short period of time. I did take my time then. Once I was as a lender, I took some time to really learn and and more than anything, learn how to navigate the financial system, right? And so then there was a position that opened up that was community inclusion coordinator. So basically, it's like the ambassador for the brand, and I would go and represent the company in different community organizations, different committees and boards, and that position was something that also gave me so much between different connections and relationships. I would also sit in much higher level meetings or at the whole credit union level. Like I would be talking directly to all of the management, to senior leadership, and the CEO. And so that was honestly, I think that's part of the reason why I've been able to build my own company strategically, is because I got the insider look behind the curtains of how to run a very successful business at a corporate level. And then I apply that at this little level of my own business, but I'm like, the wheel has already been invented and it works real well. Why not apply those strategies?
Yeah, that makes sense. So you were sitting in these meetings, listening to what they had to say, like just soaking everything they could do. How do we go from corporate to now owning your own business? You said you never wanted to have a business ever again.
Yes.
So I'm missing something here.
So I was climbing the corporate ladder when, then I met Fernando at some point, right? I was community inclusion coordinator, met Fernando, and Fernando is a realtor.
The love of your life.
Was already, yes. He's my husband, the love of my life, my business partner.
Okay.
Mi media naranja.
Media naranja.
And so he was a realtor already. When I met him, he was already a licensed realtor. And I was still on my pathway of climbing the corporate ladder. And so the natural step forward was mortgage lending. So I was a mortgage lender for a few years. And when I got married to Fernando, I moved to Des Moines and lived in Des Moines. Then in 2020, I'm fast forwarding, right? Because I was a mortgage lender for quite a few years, and there's a lot of experience I got from that background too. But then 2020 happens, and I was in this pivotal moment where I had just switched banking, financial institutions. And I was thinking in my vision that I was going to go towards business lending, commercial lending. And then 2020, the pandemic happens. March, the governor shuts down the whole state. And there are businesses that have all these bills coming out and no income for like a few months, right? And so what happened then is that there's all this aid that came out at the county level, at the city level, at the state level, at the federal level, and all of them required applications. And those applications required supporting documentation. What were those supporting documentation? Profit and loss statements, balance sheets, payroll records, payroll ledgers, business taxes, all of these financial records that unfortunately a lot of Latino business owners did not have organized, did not have at all, or were not very accurately representing the business. And so when the pandemic when all of this was happening, Fernando was also a business partner at a radio station where they announced, hey, call this phone number, which was our phone number, if you need some help. Because Fernando wanted to do something about it and help the business owners that were going through this financial crisis. And so at that time, we just got bombarded. The phone just would not stop. It was pandemic, right? Like everybody's scared to go out.
Yeah.
Everybody's wearing face masks. And everybody thinks that if they go out and they come back contaminated, they're going to kill their mom or their grandma, you know? And I was out every single day meeting hour after hour after hour with business owners. And that was when I feel like the blindfold really got taken off my eyes. Because when I was a mortgage lender, I feel like I struggled a lot with business owners, with qualifying them. Because they were not doing their taxes right, they were not reporting everything, issues, right? So I had a little bit of an idea. But when I got to help all of these I wasn't able to help all of them. That was the sad reality. Is that when they came in with all of their paperwork and I was ready to help them apply, a good, I would say about 80 to 90% were unable to qualify. They didn't have their financial records in hand. They had no financial records, or they were just really not representing well their business with their financial records. And so that was when I guess in Spanish it's called me cayó el 20.
That's when the brainstorming occurred, that like you connected the dots.
I needed to jump over to the other side of the table. So I was thinking I was going to sit on one side, which is the mortgage lender, the business lender, the financial institution.
You became the bridge.
I became the table.
Yeah.
I became the table.
Yeah.
Where my client, I feel like the way I kind of see myself is I'm like that bodyguard that goes in with them and makes sure that they get VIP treatment. I roll out the red carpet. I make sure that my clients are structured well to be able to have the red carpet spread out for them, right? Yeah. And so that was when we started the company. That's when it became, we formed it, Inmobiliaria Inc. But it was something that Fernando had been discussing and talking about for many, many years already. But it was justo in that moment that it all just was like, I have to take action and I have to jump in as soon as possible, because especially in that crisis, there was such a need for it. There was such a need for people to get organized and hopefully be able to qualify to some sort of aid. Right.
Wow. So, okay, we find the need of all of these Latino clients to have somebody fix their books so then they can be better prepared to get any sort of financial service. And how do we go from just an idea to actually building the business? And what does that entail? Because just offering help doesn't necessarily, because this is an accounting firm and financial services, but you were first an accounting firm. Am I wrong to say that?
So I'll tell you my first client. My first client was a friend of mine, asked me, and I had just actually helped their family qualify for a mortgage, so I had very good perspective into their finance. She just kind of pulled me aside and she's like, please, I know you're helping out with all this, like the pandemic help and the aid that's going out. You know what's going on with my family's business. It was a business that had been established 15 years already and really needed to clean up their accounting, better report, everything, right, more accurately. And so she pulled me aside. She's like, please take over everything, like the administration, the accounting, everything. And so what did everything mean? We created that as we went. Everything. I feel like when I first formed Inmobiliaria, I had all these ideas and I built this strategic plan of everything that I thought we were going to do. And it was good for us to start with something, but it just started. Like as we would step forward, more steps would come, more things would clarify to us, more things would develop, right? And something that I always tell our clients is that bring me the challenges, bring me the new adventures. I'm ready for them because I know that those make me stronger. Those build me into a bigger company. I grow with my clients. And so first it started with us handling the accounting and also the administrative licensing, getting the right permits, registering companies. That's kind of how it started. And then over time, we really started becoming what we are now, which is, yes, at the core, it's the real estate. Hence the name, right? Inmobiliaria. It literally stands for real estate. Now, at the core, that's it. We want to help our clients at the business level, at the individual level, invest into real estate. But we know that it has to be done strategically. We have to make sure their taxes are in line. We need to make sure if they're business owners that their accounting is well organized and that their taxes then reflect accurately what's in the accounting. We need to make sure that our clients are are compliant, are running good businesses that are complying with all of the regulations at the state, city, or federal level. We need to make sure that their branding is on target with Fernando in that department, the advertising department. And more than anything, here's where my financial background comes in, with Veridian and Marine Credit Union and U.S. Bank and Lincoln Savings Bank. All of these different institutions gave me, I think, one of the biggest strengths I have. One of the biggest strengths I bring to the table is that not only can we just do your accounting, do your taxes, help you invest into real estate, make sure you're compliant, is that there's a finance background built into all of that strategy, right? And so not only am I going to be knowledgeable on how to set you up for success tax-wise, right? But we also will set you up for success financing-wise. Make sure that when you go into a bank, they're like offering you the best of the best of the best rates, the best programs, the best options for you. They're connecting you straight to the president of the bank because you're the type of client that they want to have. And honestly, I feel like the commercial lenders that work with me really like to work with us because we have everything. When we give a client to them, the checklist is all done. Everything is ready. It's like we're literally just run with it. Go and present it. Go and pitch this to your committee. And so that's the part that I think that brings it all together, is that we bring in all of these services that stand alone. They're great services, but when you bring them all together and put in that finance, tax, like that knowledge and that built into the strategy, it just takes you to a whole nother level.
Wow, that is a lot. So, okay, these people love to work with you because you just pretty much give them their work already solved for them. What would you say is a good accounting method for regular business owners that are under your belt? And what are the what are some of those funny stories of bad, what would you say? I don't want to point out fingers, but bad accounting by bad impersonating of tax strategies?
Well, I would say good accounting would be you use your business account for everything. Okay. And what do I mean by this? There's a lot of businesses that they're like, oh, well, my bank account doesn't really represent my business. And I'm like, so what do you do? Oh, well, I pay a lot of stuff cash. No, o sea, cash is like an accountant's nightmare, a taxpayer's nightmare. You can't prove cash. And this is how I use it to like kind of clarify and open their eyes with it, is I'm like, all right, let's say that you're going to go buy a truck for $5,000. Just a little pickup to help you bring material from one place to another. All right. $5,000. Now, if you are going to withdraw that money from the bank in cash to then go give it to your cousin that's going to sell you that little pickup for $5,000, do you really think the IRS is going to believe that you invested the $5,000 withdrawal into a truck? No. They're going to assume that you withdrew $5,000 and then you went to the casino. Like, you need to document with checks, with debit cards, even Zelle, Venmo, Cash App. Like, anything is better than just cash, right? We need to document every transaction. I think that's something that's so fundamental and so basic, but that I see a lot, especially like I just got done with a trip. We were traveling to different countries in Latin America, and cash is the way to go.
Yeah.
And the thing is that with cash, the reason the government doesn't like it is that you can hide it.
Yeah.
You can hide a lot of it, and you can pretend or not pretend. Like you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
You can report or not report. You can underreport, overreport. It's so easy for them to not have full transparency, right? And so the biggest thing with my clients is I tell them, everything you receive, put it in the bank. So we document your income accurately, and everything that you're going to spend it out of the same bank account. It seems so basic, but I'm telling you, Sebastian, this is a real issue with business owners.
It's a real issue. What if you're buying the car from your cousin, but your cousin wants nothing to do with he just wants cash for the car?
You have to tell them you're a business owner. You need to document everything.
Wow. Complicated.
The thing is that I feel like a lot of times we're willing to put ourselves at risk to help someone else. And at the end of the day, that cousin, he's not gonna put his hands in the fire for you.
Yeah.
He's not. No one will.
Yeah. When the IRS comes.
When the IRS comes and knocking, no one's gonna answer the phone. No one's gonna put in their hands in the fire. That's why you have to think and build your business strategically.
So how do we avoid the IRS? I mean, besides what we already established, like how do we make sure that dude is not knocking on the door?
So that's a really good question. And the way I answer to you, to everybody, is it's not a matter of will they, it's a matter of when. Okay? Assume they will knock on your door at some point. Always assume. Always plan for the worst. Now, one of the ways, obviously, being honest and transparent, that's key, right? Now, there are things that I've seen, especially business owners, that either don't run payroll the way they should, pay people as contractors versus W-2. That's one of the big ways you're going to bring attention to your business. The other way is if you are deemed a business that has to report sales tax and you don't, that's another way to get the government sniffing through your business real quick.
Okay, so wouldn't those come out automatically? Like what, a restaurant, for example?
A restaurant, a store. If you're selling merchandise, if you're selling T-shirts, there's a lot of businesses that are deemed taxable for sales tax.
What are your opinions on tax? Do you like a government that tax, or you like a government that does not?
Great question. Now, because that's a rough question. So, I honestly, from learning about other types of governments in different places, I feel like in the U.S. we're not so bad off. I think that the U.S. does give entrepreneurs a really good opportunity to get things started here. Now, I think that once you're able to get started and build something that's really becoming profitable, you really need to connect to tax preparers that are able to form better strategies because, so nobody likes to give a part of their profit away.
No one.
Nobody. Yeah. So you want to save all those acorns for yourself, right? You don't want to share any one of them. So one thing I always tell my clients is your number one business partner is the IRS. That's your socio.
That sounds funny.
That's your socio. Even if you think you're 100% owner, no, you're not, buddy. You've got a partner there. You got Uncle Sam and Uncle Iowa right there. Yeah. They're going to take a nice little chunk, and you need to be ready. You need to be ready, and you need to build that into your projections. You need to build that into your planning.
Wow. So for people what happens if you never do taxes?
So come to me right away. The thing too is that I honor confidentiality so much. That is something that I when people come to me, they bring me all sorts of information, very sensitive information. Yeah. I have gotten to know one of the worst case scenarios was that I knew about a divorce about 3 years before it even happened.
Oh, wow. 3 years before it happened? Okay, but they don't have to know. The people on the podcast want to know what happened. We want to know what happened.
That's the level of information and type of respect that I need to have for my clients.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Is that I need to build strategies, help my client out, and don't let it leave the room that it's happening in, right? Only between the absolute parties that have to know about it, right? And so when clients come to me, sometimes they're like, oh, I haven't done taxes 3 to 5 years. And look, I've been doing this and I've been doing that. And I'm like, you're safe with me. Like, I'm not going to go and tell the world, right?
Yeah.
But I do advise them. This is what you need to do. This is what we need to do to get right. And I've had every year, I get at least a handful of people that haven't done their taxes in a few years. And it can be something that's very nerve-wracking. They come in and they're like just anxious and they're like biting their nails and like it's something that makes people nervous because they feel like the IRS is breathing down their neck. Yeah. Right? They just can feel like they're watching me, right? Yeah. They're hearing me. They're a little paranoid. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, let's hack away at it. 1 year at a time. If you want to do all of them at the same time, let's do it. But something that I feel like it's even just like, let's do it little by little. Let's do 1 year at a time. Let's just get things organized. And the people that have committed to it and that have just gone through all of the different appointments of getting their businesses and themselves organized, they're so thankful afterwards. Like they're just like, you can live in peace. You can sleep in peace. Yeah. Right? And that's something that is so valuable. And the other thing, Sebastian, is forget the IRS. Like those businesses that then file their taxes and are current with everything, they are now able to go to banks and present those profitable taxes to get financing. Because that's one of the biggest things that in the immigrant community, we're like, no te endeudes. Don't get in debt. Debt is bad. Like, if you're going to Hawaii off of just credit card debt, yeah, that's a big problem. But if it's a business trip, if you're investing into a $1 million property and you're going to have an $800,000 loan against it, yeah, people are like, oh my God, that guy's just full in debt. That's a good type of debt. Yeah. That's a good type of debt. And the thing with the financing industry is that we need to leverage it to help propel us forward, right? We need to use it to our advantage. I feel like a lot of people are scared that the system's just gonna chew them up and spit them back out. I'm like, no, let me hold your hand and we'll walk through this and we will make sure. I feel like we're gonna be in like the Hunger Games, right? We're gonna be like going this way, going that way, kind of Matrix style. But we're gonna get through it and we're gonna use it to our advantage. And don't be scared of the financial industry. I feel like that's something that once we have our taxes in line, once we have our accounting in line, we can really set ourselves up for success with the banks. Yeah. So walking back on those strategies that you were talking about, how could we possibly have a business trip to Hawaii? I'm really, you mentioned it. I was really curious. I'll tell you one of the things that some of my clients have done. They do meetings for certain strategic people. For example, I have a client that goes to Puerto Rico every year. And who's in Puerto Rico? One of their attorneys that handles trademarks, that handles certain types of copyrights and that kind of law. And there's a whole trip planned just for those visits. And it might be just one appointment with that attorney. But it's so important for the business that the whole thing basically becomes a business trip. Right? Now, there's other times that I've seen people do strategic planning and they get out of their headquarters, they leave, they can go to another state, they can go to a different place, and they do a whole like 2 or 3 day thing where they're just building out a strategic plan. That's also something that you can use possibly, and this is not tax advice. Right. You could possibly talk to your tax advisor and make sure that you're doing things the correct way so that you can use that to your advantage on your taxes. Interesting. So the right answer is call Monica, right? Call me right away. You are the person to go to when it comes to accounting questions. Mm-hmm. I am, especially with the podcast, and I've had guests, and they specify their, well, you could call them CPAs, but they like to call themselves
tax strategist.
Okay.
What does that entail? Is it a scam? At what point you can plan out so much that you're just ahead of the IRS, or is that some sort of marketing, in your opinion?
Now, I'm glad you mentioned this because there's a lot of things I see out there that I think are very much like scams, where they ask that you pay for a book, that you pay for this course, that you are literally buying like paying in for every month, almost like a subscription. And it's for this bank of knowledge, right? And a lot of times I don't see that they are really nurturing those clients and actually having concrete steps forward in building those clients up, right? And so I would say you just have to be careful with that kind of scam. But as for tax strategic tax strategist, I feel like that is a very real thing. I feel like people need to be taking that into consideration for future planning, right? Because I feel like one of the things that we're doing is that we're building something up for what? For kids, for a legacy, for usually family, right? To have some sort of generational wealth.
Yeah.
Something that they're going to inherit besides your values, besides your customs, things like that. You're going to leave something for them to inherit. And in order to best protect that, you have to form strategies. You have to form tax strategies. So it is something that there's no way you can really put a price tag on it. I think that any money invested into planning your taxes better is money very well spent. And it's not a spent, it's an investment.
Wow. Okay. So, not to the courses, not to the things. What do you think is a bit? I guess it goes into a business model, right? Do you feel like prioritizing the client's relationship is it's the best way to go about the business?
What do you mean? I guess.
Because when you mentioned subscription, so somebody charging you a monthly subscription for, as you mentioned, a bank of knowledge, right? Technically, that's everyone has access to it, right?
Yes.
It's how they package it.
Uh-huh.
Would you say that that's fair? It's just marketing. I mean, it's a fair market. Everyone has the right to subscribe to those kind of products, right? But do you necessarily consider it useful to the people? So I'm asking for people that are looking
Yes.
for these kind of options, right? Because the person that the client that might be looking for this would be someone who owns real estate, someone who is looking for someone that can go beyond just, right? Because might as well do TurboTax if I'm not gonna. I'd rather have somebody plan for me, go ahead, above and beyond, right? At what point do we go from this is what we need to this is just pure marketing?
So per business, I think you need something catered specifically to you because there's no one answer for everybody, right? And I feel like when you take some of these courses and all of these, you have this access to this knowledge base. It's not the same as having someone build a plan specifically for you, your family, your goals, and your business. And so one thing that we offer at Inmobiliaria, for example, is that we have this level of membership that's called the platinum level. And so I meet one-on-one, personally, me, one-on-one, once a month minimum with these clients and form strategies. We're building on their strategic plan. We are building one if they don't have one. We're building budgets if they don't have one. We are forecasting. We are building a finance plan. We are finding ways to qualify them for more financing. We are even like emergency planning. It's handbooks for their employees. There's all of these things that businesses require in order to really have more successful businesses that we are able to incorporate. And that's something that magic happens in those one-on-ones with me. And I feel like when that's how you really can improve the success rate of those businesses.
Okay, I understand. I guess I wasn't aware of the platinum, the product that you have. I guess that will probably go to tailor to those kind of businesses.
Yes.
But for the majority of the people, is that service needed? Or would you say a service like the one that you just mentioned is needed?
As soon as they can, I would say they should.
They should.
Yes.
Once the finances of their own business allows it.
Yes. Once they have the budget to do it, do it. I naturally do it for my business, and it has been something monumental. Like before, we had a very clear, defined strategic plan with goals, milestones, deadlines, a budget, financing behind it. We were just kind of navigating in the ocean with no compass.
Right.
Right. And so once I started basically really digging into, instead of working in the business, I started working on the business.
Oh, big difference.
Big difference. And that's what we offer is like, let's once a month minimum, let's work on the business, not in the business. And for example, one of our clients that started doing that in February of 2025, he joined the Platinum membership. All 3 of his restaurants got into the Platinum membership. We started brainstorming, doing all these things. And in one of those meetings, I think that was maybe August meeting, I was doing an inventory of all of his real estate. Just making sure I have all of them in mind, doing tax planning, all of these things. And he very proudly told me, yeah, this one has no mortgage. I have it paid off. It's like a $550,000 property that he had gotten about 2 years ago. Not even, I think. So I was like, wow. And in his mind, he's thinking, I'm very proud that I don't owe anything on this, right?
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm thinking, what can we do with 550? We can use that property, do a cash out refinance, get all that cash out. With that money, then he has about 4 times the purchase power, the buying power, right? So he could possibly get into a $1.7 million property if he did a cash out refinance on that specific property and use that money to then go buy another property. Right? And that's the type of magic that happens in these one-on-ones, is that you have someone that has a different lens. My lens is like money, finance, tax, real estate. It's a very different lens. And the thing is that this client, for example, he's so hungry for knowledge. He loves it. I'm teaching him all these things, and I'm sure that he goes and teaches other people, right? It's like he's my disciple, right? Like he goes and tells other people, but it's something that no one had really offered this to him before.
Yeah.
Is sharing this lens, and that's something that I am not selfish with knowledge. I love to share knowledge. I love to see how that knowledge then changes the financial well-being of people and their businesses.
Wow. What would be 3 main things that you will tell a business that is generating between 50K and 150K right now if they don't have their books figured out yet?
Okay, so if they don't have it yet in their budget to hire an accountant, I would say right away at least enroll in something like QuickBooks. I think it's like $40, it's less than $100 a month. And there's so many videos out there that teach you how to use QuickBooks. They have a ton of content out there. So whether it's QuickBooks or any, and this is not sponsored by QuickBooks, by the way. But there are so many other programs, other software that's online. You can get into it from any country in the world, and you can use it for yourself, right? Where you can be traveling and still have access to your accounting. You can still do invoices. You can still charge your clients from anywhere in the world because we have the web.
Yeah.
Right? And so for sure, start organizing. Save all your receipts. All your receipts. Your receipts are your best. You know what I tell clients? The receipts are your insurance package. If one day the IRS comes a knocking, they want itemized receipts for everything.
Oh, I throw all of them away.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Save them. Save them.
Well, I guess if everything's paid through credit card, I guess
No.
we're fine.
No, do not. That's one of the
What?
biggest assumptions. Don't think like you have, if you're ever audited, they want itemized receipts. You need to show line by line. You can't just show, you know, when you go to a restaurant, you get 2 tickets.
Yeah.
One shows chicken sandwich, chicken burrito, chicken this, right? And your total.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which you sign, is the one that just has the grand total.
Yeah.
You need both, but most importantly, you need the itemized one.
Wow.
So start saving receipts. Start trying, at least, you can build your own spreadsheet. You can use QuickBooks or another similar program, but definitely start organizing. I would say even a little filing folder. Every month, create your filing folder, create your statement, organize your transactions, go into QuickBooks. Make sure that that you try to do your own profit and loss statement month to month. And 3, I would say, is become knowledgeable about the financial status of your company. If you don't already know what your profit margin is month to month, I recommend that you start organizing yourself so that you do. Do you know what the average profit margin is in the United States?
Profit margin. 10%? I don't know.
You're very close.
I'm close?
8.
8%?
8. Do you know what banks want to see?
Ooh, wow. What percentage they want to see in a business?
Profit margin.
Profit margin. So how much money you're making on a percentage? I would say 20?
25.
Oh, okay. I was not okay. But that's a big change.
It's a big change. The reality, 8. What they want to see, 25. 25 is their poster child.
And you get them there.
I get them there.
What do? You just tell them stop spending money, make more money.
That's a very complex answer, but that's where I'm getting to, is that if you right now don't know the financial status of your company, if you don't know what your profit margin is, if you're not building towards that 25%, we need to start working towards that.
Interesting. I guess I never saw it like that. And it's, but every business is so different. There are businesses that have 60, 80% margin.
Yes.
Right? They're different. I guess for the restaurant business is completely different.
Yes. You should do research.
Yeah.
Research. Every industry is different, like you mentioned. But my overall tip was get to know your business financially. Right. And so that means, right now I gave you the example of 8 to 25. That's a general response.
Right.
Every industry is different, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking about different business, but you're absolutely right. What would you, with Inmobiliaria, what would you like to see change in the future? What do you want, by starting this business, what's your goal in the next 5 years? What do you want Des Moines to look like thanks to Inmobiliaria?
Creation of wealth. Creation of wealth. I'm a Latina. I'm fully bilingual in Spanish and English. Most of our clients, and I would say like 99%, are Latinos. It's something that I'm very passionate about as a Latina, as someone that grew up with generational poverty, and I'm trying to establish generational wealth for my family. It's something that I'm so passionate about. If I, with what I do at Inmobiliaria, my team, the information that they bring to our clients, if overall the umbrella of Inmobiliaria is able to nurture and able to build up businesses and families in order to them develop that generational wealth, I'm good. I'm happy. I go to sleep just fine every day because I know that I'm being part of something much bigger than just myself.
What are your goals for the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself going, especially with Mobiliaria?
With
Maybe in Hawaii, like somewhere else.
something that we are building towards is creating different markets. And market for us is at least a different state. And so right now, I feel like we've really gotten grounded here in Iowa. I feel like I still see us as babies. We're still toddlers waddling around as a business. I feel like we have a long ways to go. We have a lot of things to learn. But I would like to see this model copied in other states. Not copied, duplicated, extended to different states. I would like to see my team that's here, maybe at some point they start being the leaders in different markets. I'm so thankful that I have the team that I have, and seeing the team, the talent that they have, the intelligence, the passion that they have to truly helping our clients. It's something that over time, every month, by the way, I meet one-on-one with our team members. And key to every one-on-one is that I do leadership development in the beginning of every meeting. And so every meeting we're doing leadership skills. And so I do see every one of my team members as leaders. And so hopefully having them in different markets, and then keep building more talent here in Des Moines, eventually broadening past the US. I'm from Mexico, Fernando's from Ecuador. And there's different places like Colombia, there's Puerto Rico, different places that we've been to that we also see a lot of potential and opportunity. So I think that there are no limits, and I'm excited to see what the future brings. And I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work. I love to work.
Yeah.
And because I don't think it's really work. I feel like I'm so passionate about it. And I know that taxes, people are like, how can you be passionate about taxes? I am. I am. It's exciting. It's exciting to see what strategies can do, what not to do, what to do, finding the ins and the outs of the IRS code.
You seem to me like someone who loves the process.
Yes.
I was watching an interview the other day that says that there's 3 types of people. There is the type of people that have the entrepreneurial aspect of starting things. They're the visionaries. That's the ones that get things going, right? Those are not people that manage. They do not do well managing. And then there's the people that wake up in the morning thinking, how can I make this better? 1%. And they love that. And they are in charge of that, but they don't feel like it's work, because to them that's the dream. They get so much excitement from that. And then you get your acquisitions kind of person, which is the person that comes in and makes a deal that then later on sells the company. And I feel like each one of those people needs to be present in the business at all times for a business to be able to go from being a baby to an established company.
Yes.
Which is so interesting, because if you ask me, I will hate your life. Everything that you do, everything, not what you stand for, but everything you do on a daily, I will despise it.
Yeah.
Right? But maybe everything that I do in your life.
I'd be like, no.
But that's so interesting. And I think maybe for people that are starting businesses, knowing these kinds of things will better align with how you decide to whether open a business or start working for somebody. Because maybe as a visionary, it's not so useful to go and get a job at a bank and be told what to do. But maybe if you just love the little processes, just like what you mentioned at the beginning of your uprising, maybe that'll benefit it more. Is there anything else that we need to know about Monica as a person?
There's a lot.
There's a lot?
There's a lot. We didn't even get to, I probably not even 1%. But more than anything, I'm a very open book. If anybody is interested in learning more, I'm very happy to meet in person and get to know more of their background and share my story. I've shared my stories throughout my life in different ways. And it's not something I'm very reserved about. I like to if my story can help other people, I'm more than happy to share it. And now during tax season, I am very busy.
Do not contact me.
Not during tax season. Let's meet up April 16th.
April 16th.
Yeah. Yeah. But just that, I feel like recently Fernando showed me a picture of me when I was like 3 years old. And I almost like, and right now I'm about to start tearing up, but it's just, it's so crazy to me. I guess it just seems crazy. It just seems unreal that little girl that left Mazatlan, Sinaloa is now the one that goes back and makes investments in Mazatlan, Sinaloa,
yeah,
and is living the life that I am and has all of these things that I think that everybody probably sees wealth in different ways, right? But I think that the most important things that I need in life, I have, and I'm very thankful for that. And being able to see that I worked beyond these obstacles. I worked through all of these things that I think it's easy to give up.
yeah,
It's so easy to give up. To say, well, because I lived through domestic violence, or because I was undocumented, or because of me being a woman, me being a Latina, me being dark-skinned, because of all of these things, that's it. I give up.
yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that it's never going to happen in your mind. You know, sometimes it's like it crawls in.
Yeah.
The little cockroach is in there
Yeah.
trying to mess things up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I never have a rainy day. I have rainy days. But I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, you just have to get back up and keep trying. Get back up and keep trying. And there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, even in the worst of it. And the other thing, too, is that those things that put you to the test, put your feet up against the fire, those are the moments that later on I have learned to cherish, because they gave me something that built me into another version of myself and made me a stronger person. And so appreciating the process too.
Yeah, that's very important. The hard things are the ones that built you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monica, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I think that was great insight. Is there any way for any girl looking to learn more about taxes, any person looking to maybe want to join your team, how could they reach to you?
So they can reach me by phone, 641-229-1419. And then also you can literally just walk into our headquarters, let us know. Reach out to me via Instagram, Facebook, but I will say I'm off social media until April 15th. So by phone.
April 16, walk in.
Yeah. Yes, but in general, I feel like I love to connect with people that are also building towards something,
Yeah.
right? Whether we're in the same industry or not.
Yeah. Like-minded. Well, you guys, you heard it. Thank you so much for watching this episode. And if you find it interesting, I'll leave all of our information at the comments and the description down below. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for coming, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you, Sebastian.